All right, welcome to this new learning journey on sex-linked traits and codominance as it applies to calico cats. We have three aims for today. The first one is to explain codominance traits that are sex-linked and be able to solve problems that involve these two Mendel exceptions. And we're going to look at, that's right, what a polygenic trait is, which we haven't discussed as of yet. So polygenic. And we're also going to talk quickly about how the environment can affect traits. So those are three things you should be able to do by the time you're done with this presentation. All right, most of you should have watched already the sex-linked traits video that I just created. I'm just doing a quick reminder of what exactly sex-linked genetics is. So super fast review if this is, if you missed that explain everything, then you need to go back on my YouTube channel and find it. So, sex-linked genetics. Reminder, these are genes that are located on the female X chromosome or the gender chromosome. And I'm going to gender, sex. Okay. I'm going to remind you that a male has an X and a Y chromosome. The Y chromosome determines maleness, so you need a Y to be a male. When males make sperm, half of their sperm contains a Y, half of their sperm contains an X. Females have two X chromosomes, half of their eggs get one of those X chromosomes, and the other half gets the other X chromosomes. We also talked about how because males only have one X chromosome, they're limited in they only get one shot. They only get one allele. That's all they get. We'll talk about how that affects cats in a minute. And we talked about carriers, and we talked about how those are individuals who have a recessive allele, but you don't know it because you can't see it because they contain a dominant allele. If you need more information about any of this, like I said, go check out my sex-linked genetics video that is posted on my YouTube channel. Thanks. Okay, now we're going to get to the really cool part of our sex-linked traits, and that's talking about codominance and sex-linked traits, and we're looking at calico cats. So some cats have a fur color gene, and this gene for fur color is found on the X chromosome. So there's two choices. We have an allele for orange, and we have an allele for black. And this black and orange together gives us a calico-looking cat, which we can see in the picture on the left. And I'm going to remind you again that females get two X chromosomes. So they are the only ones that are going to be able to get calico because you need to have orange and you need to have black to get calico. And boys only get one fur color allele. And so they can be either orange or black, but they cannot be both. Now we're going to make a key for our calico cats. Calico cats are not only sex-linked, which I just reviewed, but they also include codominance. And if you don't understand what codominance is, you need to go back and watch the Codominant Explain Everything. In order to fully understand calico cats, you need to have a firm grasp on codominance. We're going to write a key for the colors, and on your packet, your genetics packet, there's a spot for calico cats, and we're going to say that R represents orange, because I think that's what's in the packet. I don't have the packet in front of me. I don't think O is used. I think R is used, but you could use O if you wanted to, which doesn't necessarily matter. And B for black. And I'm using two different letters because one is not dominant over the other. Right? They're codominant. They're both going to show up. So we're going to have the boys. And the boys are going to have an X and a Y. And an X and a Y. So these will be my males. Male, male, and they only get to choose, right, so these are on our X chromosomes, so they only get one shot. So they can either have, because they have one X chromosome, they can either have an orange allele on it, or they can have a black allele, but they can't have both because they only have one X. So this male on the top here is going to be orange, and the male below it has the black allele, so he's going to be a male that's black. Alright, so now for the ladies. Ladies, ladies, ladies. Okay, ladies are going to have 2 X's. That's going to make them female, right? So female, we get 3 choices. Female. I wonder if I'm going to have room for all this. Okay. 3 females. Okay, and we have 2 alleles that are codominant. If I want, I can make an orange female. I can have a black female, or I can have a calico female, which is a black and orange and cat, right? So my female, that is orange, needs to have 2 of the orange alleles. She has to have 2 because they're codominant. If she's black, she has to have 2 B alleles. If she has a orange allele and a black allele, then she's going to be calico. You have to be female to be calico because you need to have codominant alleles. You need both of those. That should be written down. If you need to push pause to get it into your key for your packet, please do so. If not, just here we go on the next slide. Okay, let's do a problem. So I have a female orange cat, so she's orange, and she's female, so she's going to have 2 X's. And because she's orange, and because orange and black are codominant, the only way she can be orange is if she has 2 orange alleles, so she'll have 2 X chromosomes with 2 R's. I have a male, and he's black, so he's going to have an X with a black allele, and a Y because he's a boy. I'm going to make a Punnett square here. So let's try to, change the colors up. So here's my Punnett square right here. Da, 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 bum, bum, bum. Okay, so let's see here. Blue. This boy, half of his sperm, he's going to give half of his sperm the X chromosome, so half of his sperm is going to say, hey, let's make a female, and she's going to have the black allele. And half of his sperm is going to say, well, I'm going to make a male. But I don't have any color alleles, and that's okay. And then this young lady right here is this female cat. She's going to, she's got 2 alleles that are, she has 2 alleles because she has 2 X chromosomes, and they're both orange. So this is what she's going to give her offspring, is just going to be the orange allele. I'm trying to write this in fast, otherwise I might start singing again. Okay, so that's all going to come from the female. The male is going to give his black allele to all of his daughters, and he's going to give his white to his boys. So when I look at this chart, it's showing me that all the green is mom, right? So mom's given every offspring an orange allele, dad's given every offspring what I wrote in blue, so he's giving them either a black allele or a Y to make a boy. So we're going to look at these questions here, and there's I need you to make sure that you're paying really close attention. So this question's asking how many of her offspring will be black. So the key term here is offspring. So because it says offspring, I'm going to look at the entire Punnett square. So this whole thing right here. And I have 4 boxes, so out of every single offspring she has, and I look in there, how many of them are going to be black? That will be 0, so that's actually pretty easy. Now, the next question says how many of her male offspring will be black. So I'm just going to look at the boys, because it's asking how many of her male offspring are going to be black, and all of her male offspring are going to be orange, sorry, right? All of them are going to be orange. So 0% will be black. All will be orange. I'll write that down because I accidentally called them red. Let's try another one. All right, this problem, we have a female calico cat. She has offspring with an orange male cat. So let's do female. So the female, we said she's calico. And so she's going to have two X's because she's a girl. She's going to have an orange allele on one of her X's, and on her other X, she's going to have a black allele. That makes her calico. The male is orange. So he's going to have an X chromosome, right? That's the big one. And it's going to have an orange allele, and then he's going to have the Y because he's a boy. And it does not have any color determining alleles on it whatsoever. So we're just going to write just the Y. Draw out my Punnett square. You'd think I'd be getting better at this, but instead they're looking a little bit crooked. Okay, so the male, half of his sperm are going to be carrying the, I'm going to make a female R, orange allele X chromosome, and half of them are going to be containing the Y, because I'm a boy, chromosome. For the female cat, all of her offspring, all of her, I apologize, half of her eggs are going to have an X chromosome with an orange allele, and half of them are going to have an X chromosome with a B allele. And we're going to finish pulling that in. I keep bumping something on this thing and stuff keeps popping up, but I don't think you can see it. I might have already had this conversation. I'm not sure. So I'm going to write in Mom's contribution to her offspring. So everything in red is what Mom gave the offspring, and everything in blue is what Dad donated in terms of sperm. Right, so when we look at the girls on the top that I just filled out, right, I have this one got an orange from Mom, an orange from Dad, so this could be an orange female. This one got a black from Mom and an orange from Dad, so she's going to be calico. And these boys right here, why? Because they're boys, are going to get, they get their color. They got their R from their mom, so these ones are going to be orange because of Mom. And this guy right here is going to be black because of Mom. Because Dad didn't give him any color. First question. What percentage of her female offspring will be calico? Because I said female, we are only going to look at females. That is this top row right up here, right? Only this portion is the females. So I'm going to ignore the bottom part. So the bottom part's not going to exist. I'm going to cover up the boys. And I would do that, except that later I think I'm going to have a hard time fixing it. So we're just looking at girls. We're ignoring boys. So put your hands over the boys. So female offspring, I have one female here and I have female 2 here. So out of the 2 females I have, 50% or half of her females are going to be calico, and her other half are going to be orange. Now the next question is asking what percentage of her male offspring will be calico. So then I'm just going to look at her boys right here. Just the boys. Boys cannot be calico, so that's always going to be 0% no matter what you use for the original parent cats. It doesn't matter. But the question is asking about male offspring, so we just look at the boys. First question right here is asking about female offspring, so we just look at the ladies in determining our percents. If you are confused by this, I need you to change your little cup to red. Pause the video and ask me a couple questions and I can clarify for you. Alright, now we're going to get to the good stuff because we're going to do a backward Punnett square. We are going to look at getting a litter of catlets. So I want a litter of catlets, so when I put that sign out the front that says free catlets for sale or free kittens or whatever, that my sign's going to say that I only have calico and I only have black. I don't have any other colors. I'm not going to get any orange cats at all, just calico and black. So we're going to do this backwards. I'm going to make my Punnett square here. I'll make it nice and big so I have some space. And I have to go, like I said, I have to go backwards because I don't know what my parents look like. So first thing I'm going to do is I know for sure that Dad's going to have an X and a Y. And the Y doesn't have any information on it whatsoever in terms of color. And I know that mom's going to have 2 X's. Okay, now, when I look at my question up above here, so when I look up here, it says I want to have black, and I want to have black ones, and I want to have calico ones. No orange. No orange. So let's look at the boys. And so at the boys are going to have an X here and an X here from mom. If mom has an R allele, these boys are going to be orange. And we don't want orange boys, so the boys have to be black, which means mom has to be black. Right? Because if mom's orange, so if I put a little R in here, then this would have to be an R, and then I would have an orange, and I don't want orange. So I know it can't be orange. I know that mom has to be black. Then I'm going to look at, I'll fill in the rest so I know that mom has to be black, because otherwise I end up having orange boys, and I don't want orange boys. So then I'm going to look at dad here. I don't care. The question doesn't say that dad can't be orange, it just says I don't want any kittens that are orange. So the only thing that I can do is dad can be black, but if right here, if I put a black here, I'm not going to get any calico, I'm just going to get all black cats, and I don't want black cats, I want calico cats, and the only way to do that is for these little kittens here to have an orange allele, and that has to come from their father. So the male for this problem has to have this genotype, right? So the male is XR, so he's an orange male, and the mom is this genotype right here, so she's XB, so she's a black female, and an orange male will give me kitlets that are calico and black. All of the let's look at our questions. I guess I'm jumping the gun here. So what percentage of her female offspring will be black? So the question is female. So I'm going to look up here, and I'm just going to look at females. I'm not going to look at anything else. So here's my female. I'm trying to figure out how to make this so it shows. Let's try this. So here are my oh, look at that. Mad skills. So there's my females. Question says females. What percentage of them are going to be black? Well, 0% are going to be black, right? 0%, because they're all going to be calico. My next question is what percent of her male offspring will be black? So I'm going to look right here just at the boys, and 100% of her boys are going to be black. All right, if I said what percent of her total offspring, so I want to know percent of all offspring. I'm going to try to make this skinnier because it's too bad, too big. What a disastrous mess. If you hand your homework in and it looks like this, it's going to be hard for me to grade. So what percent of all of her offspring are going to be calico? So let's do that. So what percent are going to be calico? Then I'm going to look at this entire thing, right? I'm going to look at the whole entire Punnett square. So for that question, I am going to look at all of this. So what percent of all of her offspring are going to be calico? And the answer to that question is 50%, right? 50%, and they will all be what gender? They're all going to be all female. Oops, I can't spell female. Oh my goodness, that just made it worse. Now I'm rambling on. Okay, female. Right, and what percent of all of her offspring are going to be black? That would be 50% of all of her offspring are going to be black, and they're all going to be male. If you're confused by this, please change your cup to red or yellow depending on the urgency of your question, and I will come and help you as soon as I can. Okay. All right, last couple things that you need to write down. So 2 more. Polygenic traits are continuous variations, and those are traits that are determined by many genes. Things like skin color and hair color, eye color, things like that. When you did the face lab and you flipped the coin several times, more genetic traits are actually in this realm, and we are not going to go into any more depth other than saying that a polygenic trait or continuous variation trait is determined by many genes, and we have lots of options and variations as this shows. We can have really, really light skin, we can have really, really dark skin, or we can have a whole bunch of stuff in the middle, just depending on what you get from different parents. And it's not black and white, it's everything in between. Okay, last slide. This is super cool. Environmental influences actually can help determine traits. And for this, I'm going to talk about traits before you're born. I know if you smoke a lot of cigarettes, then that's an environmental influence that increases your risk of cancer. But phenotypes can actually change based on environmental factors. And a really cool example are Siamese cats. And they're temperature sensitive. And so whenever they're growing inside their mother, the parts of their body that are the coldest, so their extremities, become dark. And the things that are the warmest stay light. So if you own a Siamese cat, and you know people who have Siamese cats, some are darker and some are lighter. And so the ones that are going to be closest to the most heat that the mom's producing are going to be lighter. The ones that are farther away from the mom's heat, so on the edge or the outside end of the uterus, are going to be cooler. Things like feet and tails and faces, as we know, especially the tail part, in Minnesota, those are the things that get cold fast. Oh, look at me and my crazy cat. So things on the ends, things on the edges get really, really cold, and those are that color on that Siamese cat, that dark color on the Siamese cat, is because of environmental influences while inside the womb. And next time you see a Siamese cat, I want you to look and see if it's really, really dark. That means before it was born, it was a lot colder than the other cats, other Siamese cats that you see that are lighter in color. Well, that's all I have. Make sure you get your entire packet finished. Make sure if you have any questions, you put your cup to red or yellow, depending on the urgency of your question, and ask, if you're stuck, let me know. And I hope this was helpful for you. And you know what? I have nothing else to say. So I will, I don't even know. I don't even have anything witty to say. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.